What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Football. You won't have seen our faces for a while, and that's because we haven't been here for a while. But in the midst of a lot of controversy surrounding several footballers, this week's topic is going to be about Kurt Zuma and his pet cat. And I was to say thank you to Mikel Antonio for kind of giving us an insight into what many people are thinking. Why is the punishment for Kurt Zuma worse than anything anyone's ever done regarding racial abuse? And then you could talk about sexual abuse as well. It's been a big week. I want to get your thoughts on what you think about Kurt Zuma and his cat. Do you think the punishment is acceptable on its own, first of all, forgetting about anything else that's ever happened? Do you think that's an acceptable punishment? And then I want you to bring in whether you think, putting everything else into perspective regarding racial abuse in the past with John Terry or Luis Suarez, regarding physical abuse with Jamie O'Hara beating up his wife. Do you think the punishment that Kurt Zuma got is right?
Yeah, obviously, firstly, before we actually get into it, we don't condone what he's done to the cat.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first point. But yeah, the fact that this news has been so big for such a long time is what I don't get. I thought by yesterday it was the end of the news. But then obviously this morning you have Sky Sports turning up at West Ham's training ground just to try and probably investigate or just question maybe Zuma if he comes along. But fortunately for us, we had Mikel Antonio who gave his point of view, and it was definitely a point of view that people have, like I've seen on Twitter for the last few days, is the fact that how it compares to racism is very, very different. And yeah, we understand, okay, we don't condone kicking his pet cat. Obviously, that was very wrong. But the speed, the fine, obviously he's been dropped by Adidas. He's been dropped by these big companies so quickly. But when it comes down to racism, we don't see this speed. I think it's just the speed and the fact how quickly they dealt with it is very, very different.
It's a tricky one, because as I said, in isolation, this incident is obviously very bad. And I kind of do agree with you want to get punished by when you don't want to get punished by your brand, but you will get punished by your brand. And I agree with the punishment. I agree you get dropped. I don't agree with Vitality pulling out of West Ham. I don't agree with I can't remember the American company pulling out of West Ham. I don't agree with all of that. I feel like that's an extension of something else. I feel like they're kind of trying to make an example of a black man. That's my personal view. But as I said, when it's not in isolation, when you put things into perspective and look at everything, you've got Luis Suarez. Liverpool came out in T-shirts backing Luis Suarez after he was found guilty of racially abusing Patrice Evra. Adidas never pulled out of that deal. They never stopped sponsoring him. Nothing really happened to him apart from a few games ban. I just don't think that's good enough. Not comparing it to Zuma, I just don't think that's good enough, full stop. You have John Terry found guilty of racially abusing Anton Ferdinand. He didn't lose any deals. Chelsea didn't lose any deals. In fact, he carried on wearing the armband for Chelsea. You've got fans in stadiums found guilty of racially abusing. They get a lifetime ban maybe, but that's it. This whole thing with Kurt Zuma, as I said, in isolation, the punishment is right. Obviously, he shouldn't be kicking a cat. It's animal abuse. You can get put in jail for that. But I just don't think it's the best way to move forward with the whole thing. And what you said about Sky Sports digging around so much regarding this, I think they have to. Like, it's big news. You have to look for stories. And because of how fast it was found out, because it was actually his little brother who accidentally or maybe on purpose, I don't know, but leaks the video.
Yeah, and his brother's also been banned from Dagenham and Redbridge. I think that's his team, or one of those teams. I saw he's been suspended by his club.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But after the initial video was released, I'll probably say it was a couple of days before he was fined or whatever. Like, it all got unraveled and wrapped up very quickly, but it's still a big story and it's provoking a lot of other stories, which is why, for example, Sky Sports will be interviewing Michail Antonio. Racial aggravation was fueled by Chris Kirkland when he effectively said that it's worse than racism and sexual assault. Obviously, I hope that he's just got his words mixed up there.
He did clear up. He did post on Twitter a few hours later, clear up what he said.
Okay, well, that's good then, because it's obviously not right. But that's where I feel the main crop of racial comparisons started, because of what he said there. And in a way, I'm glad he said that, because I guess people are starting to really look up and see, hang on a minute, this isn't right on many different levels.
But the fact is, it's not just about, people are going to be saying, you can't be comparing animal abuse to racism. But the fact is, we should be, because racism is also a big matter which is still dominant in football. This animal abuse is not something that always happens in football. This is a one-off, but the fact that it's a one-off and it's being dealt like this compared to racism, which is constantly happening, it's being dealt so differently. And I think that's why Antonio did come up with this saying, do you think what he's done is worse than racism? That's why Antonio doesn't condone it either, but he's also stating a fact. And we've seen countless like racism happening and just not being dealt in the same way.
But you know what the annoying thing is? Right in that thing that you just said, you had to say, we don't condone it. Antonio doesn't condone it. The fact that you have to say that is another part of the problem, because you can't. The keyboard warriors on Twitter, the keyboard warriors in the news or whatever social media app you want to have access for and talk about this on, they will just say, oh, so you think why are you bringing in racism? We're not, bringing it in. We're just trying to have a comparison, because, as I said in the beginning, I think that Vitality pulling out, as I said, I can't remember the American company's name, but they pulled out earlier today. I think they're just making an example of a black man, because if that was really right and they're doing it just for the cat getting abused or whatever, then you could have Chelsea shouldn't have any sponsors. Liverpool shouldn't have any sponsors. The fans, the clubs of the fans that get found guilty of racism shouldn't have any sponsors. I don't see what I'm saying is wrong there, but it kind of frustrates me, because even with I think I already said it. I can't remember. My memory's a bit terrible today. John Terry and Luis Suarez, they didn't lose anything. Terry was still wearing an armband. Like, it gets frustrating, but I guess there's just so many like ignorant people out there who refuse to learn what the actual problem at hand here is. Kurt Zuma's cat has been dealt with. He's been punished, and that whole situation, I think, has been progressed.
Yeah, now we've moved on. Yeah, we need to move on. We don't need to keep dwelling on this situation. Now we need to think, okay, yeah, maybe people should see how they've dealt with this situation so fast, and maybe think, oh, how can we now deal with racism like this? Because literally, this was dealt with so quickly. He's been dropped by all these brands. We're not saying he shouldn't be, but he should be. But why is this not happening in the past, or why is this not happening now with other problems, not just racism, as he said, sexual assault, all these things? Yeah, we've seen Greenwood's been dropped by Nike and all this stuff, but this, like, it's just the fact this is so big, such big news right now in the UK.
It's very thought provoking. Regarding Mason Greenwood, I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about it too much. I'm done with him. Manchester United should be done with him. Everyone should be finished with him. Whether or not he gets found guilty or not guilty, which I think is a genuine possibility, given who he is, the money that he has, his public profile. The facts are yet to be established in court, but pictures are pictures. I've heard people say it could be fake. People bruise easily, all those excuses, but the recording in itself is, I couldn't listen to it all personally. I stopped listening after the first few seconds, and then I had to find a transcript because I felt a bit uncomfortable listening to it. But he's finished. We can't, or I guess big outlets can't really talk too much in it because it will be against the law. Until he's gone to court, until the trial happens, until that stuff gets released. There's, I don't know, the Times can't just publish a fat article on what happened and what they think, and they can't do that. They just can't. So that's why I guess it's gone a bit quiet, but it definitely will still be getting dealt with in the background, and until, as I said, the court case happens, and it has to remain quiet. But I've never read The Private Eye. Talk about dodgy politicians, satire all the time, but only some stuff gets wider traction in the media. Yeah, like this. Look, this Mason Greenwood thing isn't new. You see, around the 2020, I believe it was, when Mason Greenwood had a dip in form. It was at around the time his best friend, the player who got released from the Manchester City Academy, he committed suicide, unfortunately. It was around that time. And then there was a speculation or an article published of Manchester-based footballer accused of imprisonment of a 17-year-old. And I think it was either sexual assault or rape. I can't remember what word they used. But luckily for Greenwood, Benjamin Mendy, which was something completely different, got caught shortly after that. So I guess everyone was like, oh, I guess it wasn't Greenwood then. And he was able to carry on for as long as he did. That was lucky for him. That's what that was about. And I say that because only some stuff gets wider traction in the media. There was no evidence back then. That's why they couldn't keep talking about it. And it just so happened that the people that Benjamin Mendy assaulted and raped, there was 9 of them actually. They started to come forward. And obviously the girl who Greenwood was, with, came forward and put the pictures on Instagram and the voice recording. But yeah, I mean, everything's dodgy when you think about it, especially with politicians. But especially with stuff like this, it can't just get thrown all around the media, because imagine something was wrong, you'd get sued to oblivion for I can never remember the word. I can never ever remember the word for it. Where you basically talk rubbish about someone and it's false information. I remember it at some point. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it all comes down. I think I was going to say it all comes down to money, but the PFA have money. They're just not using it. They don't want to allocate their money towards fighting racism. UEFA have money. They don't want to allocate it towards fighting racism. FIFA have money. They don't want to utilize it towards fighting racism. That's the difference. RSPCA care about animals. They will utilize their resources to make sure for the welfare of animals. That is their aim. FIFA's aim or UEFA's aim or PFA's aim, that's not really what they're about. They want to be making money. They don't want to be spending their money on things like racism, which they probably don't necessarily care about. Maybe now they think, this goes on to like taking the knee. This is such a big topic. It goes on even wider than just this, but it all comes down to money in the end of the day and how they want to spend it. Obviously, RSPCA, that's what they're about, animal welfare. So they will do whatever it takes. But yeah, PFA, FIFA, UEFA, that's not. Well, in my opinion, that's not what they want to do.
For the next comment, people Labrizzi, it's just stuff you see thrown around on Twitter. Obviously, unfortunately, you all have people who are on Greenwood sides. We don't have the facts. We can't assume. We can't, jump to conclusions. We support Greenwood. That's not my point of view. That's not what I believe, and I know that's not what Ibs believes as well. But there will be people out there who have said that stuff, and I've seen it. But he's finished. Greenwood's finished. I don't know if Ibs has anything else to say about that, but I personally don't really want to speak about that anymore.
Yeah, the Greenwood situation, don't want to talk about it. I don't want to put too much light on that situation. Private eye. Yeah.
The inconsistencies in the media is something you have to get used to. Not saying that it's right or fair, but it's one of them things. It's not worth the headache. When I was your age, I felt like you. Yeah, like you know what it is. I guess anyone can say anything. I mean, I did journalism at university, so I know a little bit, but I don't know too much. But when you have a worldwide paper like the Sun, compared to something maybe more like a subscription-based thing, like the Athletic, for some reason, that's what I can think of. The Athletic are probably more likely to publish something that is a little bit more risky, because if the Sun do it, you're sending out to hundreds of millions more people. The risk is too high, basically. Whereas if you're the Athletic, the risk is way lower. And look, if it's what's it called? If it turns out to be false information, it's not as big a deal than if the Sun published anything. But yeah, the media is very inconsistent, and you do have to get used to it. I feel like we are used to it now, to be honest. Yeah, life is too short, but you still shouldn't be kicking cats.
Yeah, ATF is back. ATF is back. But yeah, obviously in other news, apart from Kurt Zuma, he still played. David Moyes still picked him to play. David Moyes saying that he's one of our key players. He understands whatever situation happened, but he's still going to pick him. He needs his best team, obviously West Ham, top 4 race. They're now in the top 4. Obviously,
sorry. Do you think that's right that he got picked, by the way?
That's a hard one. Should he have been picked? The thing is, it's football. It's football. It's football. If say you're still in your job and you did that, what he did, you'll still go to work the next day.
Yeah. I don't mind that he got picked. As I said, he dealt with the repercussions. He got fined 2 weeks' wages, which is 250k apparently. He definitely got fined way more than that, by the way, because when his Adidas pulled out, that's millions gone.
Yeah, he's lost that contract.
Yeah, he's lost millions of pounds. Like, he's dealt with the problems. He's had his cats confiscated. I don't think there's an issue with him being picked. Obviously, people are going to be like, "Oh, why he shouldn't play? He should get sacked." But then takes you right around in a full circle to the racism debate. But we've moved on from that.
But yeah, West Ham, as you said, it's the top 4. They're in the top 4 now. Obviously, we dropped points on Tuesday. West Ham, they beat. Who was it again? Who did they play?
I can't remember. Watford?
No.
It was Watford, I swear.
Yeah, Watford. They won 1-0. Yeah. Jared Bowen. I want to talk about Jared Bowen. What a player. This guy is going to the World Cup. He has to go.
Okay.
Jared Bowen has to go to the World Cup. I'm telling you now. He needs to go.
All right. I don't think... look, put him in a Liverpool team or put him in a team that's playing Champions League football. I think he buckles, man. I'll be really honest. I think he buckles.
What I've seen of him, this is the Premier League. You have to forget, this is the Premier League. He's battling in top 4. I think he's good enough to be in that England squad.
Yeah, the England squad isn't a Champions League squad.
Sancho, okay, I'm saying this. Sancho Bowen
Sancho.
Bowen, trust me, Bowen is different because he's a left-footed on the right. Who in England do we have that can do that?
Foden can play there.
Foden's like a cam.
I can play there if they really need someone to play off the right.
I'm just saying, Bowen. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if he's in that squad because the way he's performing this season, you don't just perform like this in one season and not go to the World Cup.
No, he definitely will go to the World Cup.
He'll be. That's what I'm saying. He will be in the squad, Because if you think about it, people like Jesse Lingard were in the last World Cup squad. So I'm telling you, Jared Bowen is going to be in that squad. Doesn't mean he's going to be starting, but he's going to be in the squad.
He 100% will be in the squad.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Look, we've seen players tear it up in the just outside the Champions League. Remember Stuart Downing at Aston Villa? Went to Liverpool, stunk it up, stunk Anfield up. I had names in my head literally 10 seconds ago, but I just saw Ron's comment, go with your eyes, not reputation, please. And I lost the names in my head. Sancho in the last few games.
Yeah, Sancho has been good.
Yeah, Bowen wouldn't get game time.
Yeah, he wouldn't. He'd just be in the squad. That's what I mean. He's not going to be starting. He's just going to be in the squad.
You got Grealish.
Yeah,
was
he's
another
not
name.
starting over all these guys, but he'll be in the squad.
Grealish runs around Man City like he's wearing white boxers with brown on the inside. Like, he's not doing very well. For 100 million.
Yeah, but we'll get onto him because. But what's this?
Basuma as well. What? I never know what happened with Basuma. You know, everyone keeps saying his name.
Something happened, but I think it's not T or something. I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't want to say stuff, but yeah, Ward-Prowse has a higher chance of starting for England than Bowen. Yeah, of course. Well, than Bowen. Yeah,
I promise you now, 100%, 150%. We won the Euros if Ward-Prowse was there. We win it. If Ward-Prowse is playing against Italy in that final, we win the Euros.
What, for pens?
Not for pen. Well, then pens. I wouldn't even think it got to pens. Set piece delivery, corners, free kicks, 100% win that game. Ward-Prowse is the best set piece taker, bar Messi,
in the world,
in Europe.
Of course.
I don't know about the world. There's probably
in Europe. Okay, Europe. Yeah,
somewhere in Argentina or Brazil. There's a guy who's probably scored 20 out of 20 free kicks or whatever. But Ward-Prowse on set pieces, especially in tournament style football, is absolutely ridiculous. I'd think Sancho is improving.
Mm-hmm.
He is improving. And I believe that is down to Ralph Rangnick.
Of course.
He's playing in the system.
I don't even question Rangnick anymore. I used to question him, saying, "Oh, why?" I'm seeing Sancho playing on the left every game. We bought him to play on the right to build a partnership with our right back, but Rangnick consistently plays Rashford on the right, Sancho on the left. So I'm like, okay, he knows best. At least it's not Oli. This guy is actually a coach. He knows what he's doing. So I just watch the games now, and yeah, with United talk, we'll go into more detail on Saturday. Obviously, playing Southampton on Saturday, so we'll reflect on both this week or both of the games this week on Saturday with United talk. Ward-Prowse was against last night, set piece. Yeah. Do you like United? I don't think he's the player for us.
That's the thing. Like, with Ward-Prowse, it's such a tricky one. Because obviously, he's more than just a set piece taker. He's a very good footballer. And I think he might have outgrown Southampton. But because of the way the Premier League is at the moment, you have the traditional top 4, top 5, City, United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And then the teams that would usually be just there are Everton, Aston Villa. Did I say Tottenham already?
No.
Tottenham. And then you have the rest. But at the moment, Southampton are they're having a bad season. If I'm wrong, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember them being quite low in the Premier League. But they're
Southampton.
Not. Yeah, they're in a position which doesn't reflect how good they are. They're having a poor season, if I remember correctly.
They're 10th.
10th. I thought they were like 14th or something.
No, but if pretty decent.
I feel like you understand what I'm about to say. Like, the next step up for Ward-Prowse would be
like an Arsenal
or to Arsenal. No, I already said Arsenal, like traditional top 6, but they're dead. But like, it would be an Everton or a Tottenham. But I couldn't see him going to a team like Everton or Tottenham because I just don't. I feel like it's almost a sideways step. But then he couldn't make. I don't think it would be fair to try and get him to make that jump to a United. Because even though we're not playing very well at the moment, we're still in the top 4 and we're still a gargantuan club. I don't think it would be fair to have him just slot him in to that side because one, where would he play? Leicester.
Leicester could be a step up potentially.
Nah, wait. What team was I going for reputation? Because I can't see him at an Arsenal. Nah,
But I
Saints
think,
beat the hell out of Spurs, but Spurs are still a good side. They're going to finish in the top 6 or top 5. They just didn't have the best game yesterday. Southampton aren't going for European football. Spurs are going for European football, but I just can't see him fitting in to many other sides. Like, who's Ward-Prowse going to displace at Spurs? Who's the centre midfielders again?
yeah, Harry Winks. Of course, he's displacing him. Winks, Højbjerg.
Yeah, Højbjerg.
Yeah, of course he displaces Winks.
He might replace Winks, you know.
Of course.
He's not displacing City's, Liverpool's, Chelsea's. Look, he probably wouldn't even get into our team, to be honest with you.
Fred's.
Now we have Pogba, Fernandez, and there's one position. Ward-Prowse isn't a DM. So he wouldn't get into our team. Leicester, Ndidi, Tielemans, then Maddison in front. I can't see him displacing anybody there. Tottenham, it would have to be Winks or Oliver Skip when he plays. What are the other teams? Everton.
That's it. Everton. Obviously, Dele Alli and maybe if you have Dele Alli and Prowse.
In their centre midfield, they got Allen and Decore first.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Like, that's what I mean. Like that's probably why I stayed at Southampton for so long, because he'd want to progress to a team that's wanting to. Like, he doesn't want to leave Southampton and not be a first team starter, but he doesn't want to leave Southampton and play for a team that's just exactly the same level. You want to progress. There's a natural progression of someone who's tearing it up, but it's so difficult to find him a place, or for him to, or it would be for him to nail down a spot in a team that's challenging for Europe. That's the point I'm trying to make. And there's a few players like that, which is, look at Danny Ings. Like, he was killing it at Southampton, went to Aston Villa. If anything, they'll
play.
Yeah, like, but he wouldn't.
Doesn't even play.
But I don't think he could go to a City. And not on reputation, but Arsenal were kind of in the same spot. They've not been challenging for Europe. Why would you go there? I don't know. Like, it's really tricky. It's really tricky.
Yeah, and another club, like you just mentioned Aston Villa. He wouldn't even get into Aston Villa's in centre mid because you have players like Jacob Ramsey, 20 years old, 2 goals last night, 3-3 draw of Leeds United. But I'm telling you, Jacob Ramsey, he is on the flight. He's on the flight to Qatar as well.
You think?
He's on the flight. If he keeps doing this, no, but if he keeps doing this, he's on that flight. I'm telling you now, age is just a number. I think he's the same year as Bellingham. Must be the same age as Bellingham.
He's older than Bellingham. Bellingham's only...
Oh, yeah, he's older than Bellingham. Bellingham must be 19.
18
or 19, yeah, and he's 20. But you were mentioning that he's a unit. He's built.
Yeah, Ramsey's built.
He knows when to get into the box. He scored 2 goals last night. I'm telling you, Jacob Ramsey, what do you mean this? He's not going anywhere. I'm telling you, he is going. If he, the level he's playing at, if he keeps doing this, and I'm sure under Gerrard is the best coach for him to improve his game, because right now he's only just starting. He's only just started playing like this, and he's arriving in the box at the right time. Built a great partnership with Coutinho already after how many games?
Yeah, they say everyone knows agree with you. Jacob Ramsey is hard, but I don't know about that flight. What you said?
I'm not saying just know Jacob Ramsey's on that flight.
Okay, he plays centre mid, attacking mid. I wouldn't really say box to box. I haven't seen too much of him, so I can't give you a definitive position. But who does he get in front of
for England?
Yeah.
Why? I'm just saying he's on the flight. It doesn't mean he's in the team.
No, you can be on the flight, but who doesn't get on the plane?
So how many centimeters do you take? I don't like.
5, 4.
Okay, you have Bellingham, you have Henderson, you have
Rice, Phillips.
Rice, Phillips.
He was the other one at the Euros. Who was the next midfield? Guys, who was the next England midfielder, centre midfielder at the Euros?
Mount. I don't know if he counts. Does Mount count?
That was 5. Yeah, well, we'll find out. Mount. Does Mount count as the central midfielder? Yeah, but he doesn't get in front of Bellingham.
Okay, Prowse.
I don't think he gets him. Yeah, I don't think he gets in front of them. Look, it will be down to Southgate, obviously, and I think you'll hear an excuse. So we need to ease him in.
It depends on how well he does this season, how he finishes the season. Because if he's finishing the season the way the season's going right now with him, I think tournament football, you take players on form. You take players who are in form.
Yeah, I know.
Like a mixture of experienced and players in form.
Some players
that confidence is, you need to play with confidence. You need confidence. You need players with confidence. Like
look at
Wabi
Kazri, Tunisia, came to Sunderland, stunk the league up. But when he plays for Tunisia, when he puts on that shirt, he's basically Messi. Falaj Jujsak played for Lokomotiv Moscow in Russia, I believe. Hungarian. Bang average footballer. Put him in that Hungary shirt. He's tearing up. Tore Portugal to shreds. Pretty sure he scored a hat-trick or 2 goals when they were playing in the Euros 2016. Danny Welbeck. Peter Crouch. Banging the goals in for England. Their goal-to-game ratio for England is amazing, but they're not the best strike. Like, I don't think...
Yeah, I get what you mean.
There's too many examples of international players, like international. They're made for international football. Maybe it's the buzz, it's the excitement of representing your country or whatever. But I think the World Cup might... Well, I don't think it might. I think it is too soon.
It could be too soon.
Nations League next year. I don't know.
This England team, there's no reason for the next 10 years, next 2 World Cups why we don't win both.
Paul Pogba run.
This year and the next World Cup, there's no reason why England don't win. There's no excuse. We have the best youth players in the world.
It's a natural progression.
We have the best.
Semi-final of the World Cup. Final of the Euros. The next step either has to be final of the World Cup, maybe not a win, but you got to go and win the Euros at the very, very least.
Have I seen France? Of course I've seen France, but I'm telling you, England's team, the youth players we have in England, I'm telling you that.
Crazy. Bellingham, England aren't reaching semi. Axel, what country are you supporting at the World Cup? Because England 100%, I think, has to reach
the final.
Yeah. Like, look, I know Gareth Southgate isn't the best manager, but he took us to a semi-final and then the final. Since that final of the Euros, Foden has improved. Bellingham has improved. Rice has improved. Who are the centre-backs? Now, don't worry about Harry Maguire, innit? He's Manchester United's problem.
Harry Maguire is an international player, so he plays well for England.
When we play 3 at the back, that is...
Yeah,
that's just it. Like when we play 3 at the back, he's alright. But when anyone plays 4 at the back, Maguire is so much of a liability that it's almost ridiculous. And I'm not really too bothered about he's just having a little bit of bad form. No, this is his level. Last season, he was playing out of his skin. Like, out of his skin. Yeah. Playing out of his skin last year. It was almost unbelievable.
Saturday's episode, The Return of the Fridge. That's the title. Return of the Fridge. I remember when we started ATF, almost every episode, Maguire this, Maguire that. And now we're back. A year later, we're back to saying about Maguire. I actually can't believe how don't know what to
I'll say
say.
to you guys now, make sure do not miss that United episode, because even in my head, I have so much I want to talk about. This team has put me through the motions. This even in the past month, I can't. I've changed my Twitter name. I'm a Palace fan. I've even got a Palace shirt now. I ordered a Palace shirt the other day. You know, it's gonna come. I ordered
Well, the new one.
The third kit. The half blue, half white. United put me through it. They've put me through it. I've close to tears this season. Jay Rodriguez, man. One of the last matches at Manchester United matches at Old Trafford I went to was the 2-0 loss to Burnley when he scored that absolute fluke of a shot with his weak foot. And you just have a feeling that he's just going to come back. He's going to come back and do it again. Then, of course, it had to be Harry Maguire's mistake. Of course, it had to be but I don't know what. Listen. That interview last year when Harry Maguire said, I'm much faster than, people think I am. Did you see him sprinting back to try and get the ball from
that was slow
Rodriguez?
motion. So slow.
This is how he sprints. I can't do Harry Maguire anymore. I can't do it. That's why I'm a Palace fan. Zaha missed a penalty for us the other day. I'm devastated. But boy, you don't miss the episode on
Saturday. Especially if, I'm not going to say anything, but Saturday. Just tune in Saturday. Saturday, £100 million. Jack Grealish starting on the bench for Manchester City once again. What's a player? £100 million. If this was Pogba, it'd be a different story. But it's Jack Grealish. We move. And Jack Grealish, they won. What was it, 2-0 against Brentford yesterday?
Comfortable.
Yeah, it was an easy win. Brentford, it was just 2 mistakes from Brentford. Obviously, City punished them. One was a penalty from Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne as well. But Jack Grealish just came on. I mean, you're not going to lose the game. He's not going to perform badly, but it's like you don't necessarily need him in the team.
That's why I don't understand why they bought him. Like it never made sense to me. I've said it many times. I judge a transfer on many things. Who is the player gonna displace? You're not taking up Mahrez. He's not playing centre forward. And I've always believed Raheem Sterling is way better than him. Does the transfer fee make sense? Or is it just like you're buying him for branding? Because we know Man City is still a team on the up in terms of publicity.
It was a signing for the fans. They needed to bring the young supporters. Everyone loved Grealish after the Euros. Everyone loved Grealish. Everyone loved him.
Make a wish transfer.
So they signed him for the fans. It was literally for the fans. That was it.
And my third thing is, does he look good in the kit? No, I don't think he does. And I think that's important. You might think it's silly, but whenever you're going to make a signing, you always think about what is he going to look like when he's celebrating in our kit?
I don't know about that, but okay.
No, I do. And I was proven right. He's been a stinker, absolute stinker at Manchester City. He doesn't get spoken about enough, but maybe he might have been dropped because Mahrez was there as well, wasn't he? He was really drunk when they got caught not getting let in to a club, I think, in Manchester. I was going to say that maybe that's why he was dropped or not playing, but Mahrez was there as well. Grealish, he's finished. Well, not finished, but he's done nothing to help himself. He's done nothing to even remotely justify the 100 million transfer fee. I don't think he's a Manchester City type player. I think he's a player that could do best in a team where you're not just blitzing every game.
He is the player. He is the main man in the team. Right now, he's overshadowed. He's just a squad player. He's a squad rotation player. That's what they told him on career mode. Not career mode. And he's specified the role. He's a squad rotation player. He's not a starter. He's not in the starting 11 every game. He's not that player.
Nah. See, that don't make sense because you don't spend £100 million on a squad rotation player. They would have told him you're a first team starter because he started that first game. But he just hasn't proven himself. He just hasn't done enough.
He can't. his game, he can't prove himself in the City team based on his game because of the system. He can't.
Exactly.
And
doesn't
yeah,
suit him.
as Big Ron says, no guarantee starters under Pep. Everyone's on their toes. Everyone has to be training hard. And now he's going to get what he does usually. He's going to eventually be coached out of him, or to an extent, not fully, because in certain games, you need Grealish to be running with the ball, winning fouls, drawing free kicks. That's his speciality. But in other games, that's not going to be required from him. That's why he might be on the bench in certain games, or when City get a striker, you'll see Grealish slowly faded out of the team.
Well, they've got right now.
Yeah, because right now they're playing a false nine. He came on and played false nine, but it's just not. I don't think it's not the right system for him.
Right, I've got a question for Big Ron. Yeah, Grealish, rank him. Just give me like a 1 to 4 for the left because he doesn't really play on the right. You've got is it 1 to 3 or 1 to 4? You've got Grealish, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden. Can you put Bernardo Silva there as well?
No, Bernardo doesn't really play there.
Okay, then just 1 to 3. Just give me a 1 to 3 for Grealish, Foden, and Raheem Sterling because I have a 1 to 3. My 1 to 3 is 1 Sterling, 2 Foden, and 3 Grealish. But and that doesn't make sense to me why they spent 100 million on him. That's my beef with the whole thing because part of it comes from the football teams do make transfers to prevent other teams from making transfers. Like it sounds petty, but why do you want your other team, other rival, to strengthen?
Man United have done this countless times. Alexis Sanchez.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Ronaldo, apparently, I don't think Ronaldo would have gone to City, but people are still saying that. But whoa, Grealish won.
Oh,
and Sterling lost. Nah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that shows people see football in a different way because what is Grealish doing on the left? What is he actually going to do? Are you talking about for United? Maybe he thinks for United.
If you like a dribbler, then Sterling should be gold.
I mean, no, maybe like ball carrier. Like he'll carry the ball, and he won't lose it.
We have a dribbler in Sancho now. I guess he's not.
Is he not
Sancho,
really,
Sancho, yeah. I was just about to say he can dribble with it. He's a very good dribbler of the ball, but Sancho is such a technical player.
Did you see him rip the defenders twice? Twice.
Boy. Only judging on performances this season. No. I'm judging it on what I've seen over the past couple of years. Sterling has been one of the best left wingers in Europe. Foden, I cannot remember who won the Golden Boy. I think it was Pedri, but Foden was up there. He's been one of the best youngsters in Europe. Grealish has been very good, but just not better than them. So, he's not a bad player. Obviously, he's a very good player, but there's just two there that are better than him, in my opinion. Sterling's been there and done it, and he's still doing it. Won Prems, everything but international and Champions League. Like, I think, obviously, I'm not aiming this at you, Ron, but I just think Sterling gets too much disrespect. Sterling is in the 100 club for the PL now. I believe he's on 100 or 101. But that doesn't ever get spoken about. 26-year-old winger in the...
26. He's 26.
He's still young.
He's not in his prime.
Exactly. He scored over 100 Premier League goals as a winger at 26. Is amazing. But what you'll only see about Sterling is that one miss that he did, that tap-in that he missed. I just think Sterling gets disrespected, not like, oh, you're shit. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't swear. Not like you're rubbish or get out or whatever. I just don't think he gets the appreciation he deserves. People don't acknowledge his genuine talent. Because think about it, you don't start for Liverpool at 16 if you're rubbish, you know? One of the biggest clubs in the world. You start for Liverpool at 16, if you have immense potential or you have immense talent at the time. So which one was it? Because as Ib said, he's still not even in his prime. You got about 2 or 3 more years
That's the
before you
scary
see.
thing.
Exactly.
He's not in his prime. I'd take Sterling at Man U.
In a heartbeat.
I'd take him. I'd also take Son. I'll take Son as well.
See,
And
I like your transitions, you know.
yeah, like it moves on to Spurs. Spurs calamity yesterday. 3-2 loss at home to Southampton, who probably had one of their best games of the season. And yeah, Kane and Son. I was going to say with Son, I think he's a player where, yes, he can go into any starting 11 for any of the top sides: City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United. He can go into any of the starting 11. But I think the problem is clubs don't need him. The clubs don't need him. That's probably, and he's in the contract. There's no point in spending that money on him because you just don't need him. I think that's the only problem with Son. And I think that's why his career is just slowly fading away.
I agree with you. I think you probably have about 4 footballers that are in a golden cage. You got, I would have said Messi, but he's obviously moved now. You got Kane. And what I mean by golden cage is they can upgrade. They can go to somewhere better. They can change their team, but nobody can get them. Even if they want to leave, nobody can get them. Kane, Son. I've been saying Pogba, but it's looking like he's going to leave. So I have him as a 3 maybe. And I had Mbappe and I have Haaland in there. So 3 to 5 players. Players that can move teams, but they're just so good and so expensive and their clubs almost refuse to get rid of them. Son, Asian Footballer of the Year numerous times. One of the best in class in terms of not just the Premier League, but in terms of the world. I don't think you could name 4 or 3 better left wingers than Son over the past 3 years, maybe. You got Neymar, obviously.
He just signed a new deal.
Neymar,
like, wasn't it last year before Messi came? I think
2025. I think.
Yeah.
Who are the other left wingers that are just actually better than Son?
Sterling, Neymar, Mbappe.
Mbappe left winger. I have him as a striker in my head.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Dan James. Oh God.
Dan James. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, look, you only have Neymar, who's just a clear better left winger. I wouldn't say Sterling's better than Son, to be honest. Son's a more complete winger. I'd prefer Son over Sterling, to be honest. But Sancho or Sterling, by the way, I'd pick Sterling.
I pick Sancho. I pick Sancho. You don't just become, was it second most assists in the season in Europe for no reason?
Yeah, but Sterling's been City's top scorer for how many years now?
I pick Sancho.
They're different types of wingers. They're just very different.
They're different.
Sancho isn't going to skin someone and pass it in the back of the net. Sancho is going to do the 1-2s, the nutmegs, the this and that, the little dink over the top. Sterling's the person who's going to be on the end of that dink. Like, I think they could work very well together. But yeah, I just really like Sterling, and it comes from a place where he was at Liverpool, and I liked him when he was at Liverpool. I don't usually like Liverpool players. I have like a very strong, powerful hatred towards that team. But I loved him at Liverpool. I loved him when he went to City. I enjoy watching him play. I like his speed, his acceleration, his drive, his willingness, and at the same time, all while battling the haters and the off the pitch stuff, the gun on his foot, leg, the abuse he's had to face, but at the same time, he's still elevating his game each season. I just really like Raheem Sterling. I think he's an idol. I think someone that can be idolized.
Definitely.
100%.
Son doesn't look fit after his injury. Yeah, Son, he doesn't look the same player yet, but we all know he's still a great player. I was going to say, I think he just needs to leave. I don't know what team he'd go to because Spurs is not the scene for him. He needs to be playing Champions League football. He's playing Conference League. Son playing Conference League,
They're
not
not even
even
in that
Champions
anymore.
League, not even Europa League. They're not even in it anymore. That's what I mean. He needs to leave. He needs to play Champions League football. Liverpool are not going to buy Son. I'd want him at Man U. He's definitely upgrade from Rashford. The only other teams is abroad. Maybe Bayern Munich.
For Son.
Yeah. Because that's the only
But
other
I
option I
can
can
see him at
see.
Barcelona, you know. I can see him in that kit.
Barcelona rebuild, maybe.
I can see him in that Barca kit. I'll be real.
I do get that, but I also see him at Bayern because I think Bayern are trying to. I don't know if they're trying to offload Gnabry, but Bayern could be a team.
Arsenal apparently for Gnabry.
Yeah. So yeah, Bayern could be a team. PSG, obviously, if they get Mbappe is going to Real Madrid, go there. You don't think so?
Nah. Son's dad is a very strong and powerful man in his life. I don't think he'd let him go to PSG, to be honest.
But he needs to be playing Champions League football. That's the thing. Same with Harry Kane.
He'll be playing Champions League next year.
Harry Kane, I'm not sure about Harry Kane though. That's another problem. Kane missed his window to leave. And what clubs will be in for him?
Golden Cage.
Given his age as well.
Let me find out when his contract expires because I'm pretty sure he signed a fat one a couple of years ago. But he won't. If he runs down his contract, he'll be in his 30s, 100%. Oh, it's only until 2024.
Yeah, and he's currently how old? 28.
Yeah, so he'll be in his 30s.
Like this next contract he gets is his next final contract. If you think about
big payout. Son to Newcastle, though. At some point, click on the interesting discussion one about Sterling being a typical winger. Because I think you can talk about Son, Bayern Munich as well. What you're gonna have to expand on that, Ron, by the way. I think there's not many typical wingers anymore. A typical winger for me is a Ryan Giggs.
Left-footed left wing, right-footed right.
Leroy Sané is a typical winger for me.
Actually, no, Sané now plays Actually, no, I get what you mean. Yeah,
when he was at Man City, he's just a flying winger. You got. Well, how would you put Alan St-Maximin?
No, he's creative. No, he's different. Very different.
At the top level, I can't think of typical wingers like the fly-in, same foot on the side winger. But Sterling, for me, I'd still class almost like that. Because he can play on the right when he was just at Man City for the first couple of years. I believe he was playing on the right. And then when Sané was there, he was also playing on the right. He can beat a man. He can skin three guys in without even thinking about it and put a good ball in.
Traore,
that's what I was thinking of. Traore is the typical winger for me. He just happens to does not have the best end product. Sorry.
He's somehow at Barcelona. if Traore can go to Barcelona, anyone, Son definitely can.
But that's why I think you're probably not wrong about him going to Bayern Munich because Arsenal apparently in for Gnabry.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well. Arsenal in for him. That's what I'm saying. Bayern Munich potentially could be in for him, man. He's obviously played in Bundesliga before. You mentioned his father is strict. His father obviously knows the Bundesliga as well. Bayern Munich are the best team in the Bundesliga. Why not? It's a different opportunity to go back to Germany. But also the Premier League. Does he want to leave the Premier League? No one else in the Premier will be in for him. That's the problem.
See, why would you want to leave the Premier League right now? That's another thing.
Yeah, Premier League is the best league. He wouldn't want to leave
hands down. Rafinha at Leeds is the closest thing to a winger. The position has evolved. Sterling is more of an inside forward, a threat with his running as opposed to getting a cross in for a teammate. So what
it's different. I want to quickly say because you're saying cross. Nowadays, we don't see crosses from outside the box. The crosses come from within the box. Sterling makes that run between the fullback and the centre back, and then cuts it back. He's already in the box for the cutback. He's not doing like a typical cross for a header, because that's just the way they play. And yeah, I guess what you mean. I do understand what you mean by inside forward, because that's what he's doing. He's going inside. He's making a run inside rather than outside.
Oh, it's a tricky one. I guess Dan James is a typical winger. In the lower levels of the Premier League, in the Championship, you're gonna have a lot of typical wingers. The Brexit football, innit? That type of stuff. But once you get to the top, I think everybody is.
It's more intricate football.
Yeah, it's interchangeable positions. You got players. You know, what do you think about Vinicius Junior? I think he. If Rafinha is a typical winger, then Vinicius Junior is a typical winger, but I wouldn't have had them as typical wingers. I guess maybe we have different definitions for a typical winger, you know?
Yeah, finally moving on to obviously same game. Broja, Southampton striker on loan from Chelsea. And he's a great striker. I was saying I don't think he'd make it in the Chelsea team, but you said otherwise.
Look, I think he would. What he's doing at Southampton is a bit weird in terms of I didn't even know he was there until he scored his first goal, and he just seems to have built on it. I don't think he's a confidence player either. You get those players; they could be having a bad game, but they'll still be able to find the back of the net. Broja's not accidentally scoring these goals. He's like working. He's like a workhorse, almost like a Diego Costa up front for Southampton. And then you have something else to his game, which the current Chelsea main striker, I guess, Lukaku doesn't have.
Press.
Very good with his feet. Well, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Well, two things then. He's very good with his feet. Hold up plays brilliant. His first touch.
So strong. He's strong.
Yeah. Like he's as I said, he's like a Diego Costa, like a young Diego Costa. And we all know how dangerous Diego Costa was in the Chelsea side when he was there. If Lukaku had the interview, he wants to go back to Inter, he likes Italy, blah, blah, blah. If Chelsea decide to part ways with Lukaku in the next year and a half or 2 years, they have a perfect ready-made replacement. Given Tuchel's still there, by the way, they have a perfect ready-made replacement in Armand Broja.
And he's playing Premier League football.
Exactly, and he's scoring goals. He's not just a passenger. He's their main man right now up front. Southampton's main guy up front.
Him and Che Adams.
Exactly. I like Che Adams.
I take it back. I think he can make in that Chelsea team. I didn't realize how young he is. He's younger than me. He's 20 years old. I'm born in 2001. Yeah, it doesn't like for a 20-year-old. He's Premier League ready. I didn't realize he was that young. So yeah, he's definitely. Even if it's not next season in the Prem for Chelsea, then as long as he's still playing in the Prem for another team on loan, he can definitely make it at Chelsea.
Exactly.
If Chelsea are willing to give him the opportunity and not just sell him or send him on loan. Well, yeah, obviously Premier League tonight, Leicester playing Liverpool. Arsenal versus Wolves.
Kicked off 4 minutes ago.
Oh, they kicked off. I thought it was 8. Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, no, they kicked off just recently. So, yeah, definitely going to go watch that.
It's on BT Sport, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go, we might as well just talk about the lineups. Liverpool's lineup: Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip, Alexander-Arnold, Jones, Fabinho, and Thiago in the midfield. Diaz, Firmino, and Jota up front. So Elliott and Salah aren't starting. Leicester's the bottle jobs of the Premier League. They're going to get torn to shreds. Oh my God.
Leicester, the way they lost 4-1 to Nottingham Forest was a shambles.
Oh, can we speak about Jed Spence?
Yeah, Spence. I remember seeing this guy one time. I can't remember. Let's go for these comments. I thought you too. Fun show. Thank you, big one. Yeah, Chelsea's youth players. Problem is academy graduates, big clubs. Yeah, obviously big names from abroad. But yeah, mentioning Jed Spence. right back, Nottingham Forest, due for Premier League move very soon. Very soon.
Possible call up to the Jamaican squad.
Yeah.
Possible. I mean, he ain't getting in the
You,
England squad.
you,
Um,
you never know. It depends what he wants.
You got Trent, Reece James, Max Aaron's even ahead of him, Kieran Trippier. You got he'd be like
too
9th
many,
or
too
10th.
many.
Yeah.
Too many, yeah. Yeah, it's exciting for Jamaica. There's many youth players currently in England who have the ability to represent both.
You got Ethan Laird.
Yeah, Laird.
Deshaun Bernard, Demarai Gray, Jed Spence, Max Aaron's even. Before the show started, we were talking about Canada. 2 stars, Jonathan David and Alfonso Davies, but the rest of their team very evenly balanced. No terrible players, but just an evenly balanced squad work well together. That is what I want Jamaica to get to. You have championship / Premier League players. Then you have the stars in Leon Bailey and Michail Antonio whilst he's still playing at the highest level. That's what I dream of for Jamaica, you know. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and on that note, make sure you tune in on Saturday evening. We'll be here, United Talk. Obviously playing Southampton at 12:30, kickoff. Brozier, it's going to be dangerous. Him against Maguire. He's going to burn Maguire. He's going to skill Maguire.
I'll be real, I don't think Maguire's starting on Saturday.
It's the return of the fridge. If Lindelof is fit, I know Ranić is picking Lindelof because Ranić, we'll get into Ranić. Yeah, he has sense. And we'll get onto that on Saturday. So thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. #ATF back. Goodbye.